I believe Kamala Harris is so abnormal. The left is acting so abnormal that they're going to force abnormal results, abnormally positive for Republicans and for Trump in this election. I'm going to make my case with this group of clips. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. Please take a look, double check, make sure you've subscribed and rung the bell because that helps get our message out. We're going to start with Bill Maher.
Trump is invulnerable to an October surprise, but she is very vulnerable because she's the one who is still undefined.
Now, that's a comedian who's rooting for Kamala Harris. He's going to vote for Kamala Harris, and he's going, "You haven't been defined. You're in trouble."
But now undecided voters want to hear about you. They want someone to vote for.
There's no one to vote for. No one knows what she thinks because she has just a blank list of accomplishments. She's never accomplished anything, as seen here with Trump on this plane.
I know you don't like her, but she did do a lot of great things if you read it in this book.
Watch.
That's Kamala's greatest achievements.
The book is Kamala's Greatest Achievements, and it is entirely empty. That might be the only book that Trump read this year.
Trump has a coalition of voters made up of A, people who really do like him, and B, people who think with all of his flaws, he's still better than far-left insanity. And the voters' big doubt about Kamala is, are you part of far-left insanity?
Well, Bill Maher needs to rethink that, because he's voting for far-left insanity. Here's Richard Hanania, Wall Street Journal, on Elon Musk in Pennsylvania giving young men meaning. This is with his registration and giving away $1 million to a random person every day. Quote, while some critics want to simply chalk up Musk's antics to toxic masculinity, he stands as a hero to many young men, saying the stuff they're thinking, chasing dreams they wish they had the courage to imagine, coming to their own town to fight the fight. Yes, Musk has unfathomable wealth. More than that, though, to them, Musk has something more precious: purpose. Getting to Mars and techno-optimism are at least something. What do liberals offer young men? Be nice to people and respect minorities might work for women, but men want something more masculine, and the left isn't even making a case to them. And then here's Peachy Keenan. Liberals demand that young men shrink, make themselves smaller, take up less space so the oppressed can take up more. Elonism frees them from that mental health. And here's what if Archie Bunker, a classic form of truly coarse masculinity, but we've looked back fondly on him as he debates Tim Walz, the new masculinity.
I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service.
I ain't lived around here for 30 years for nothing. These people around here know Archie Bunker. They're my people. I'm going to knock on every door and every window, and I'm going to say to them all, stick to your guns, folks.
Would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership. We've seen a calmness that is able to draw on the coalitions to bring them together.
You know something? If you liberals go on getting your way, we're all going to hear one big loud flush. That's the sound of the USA going down a toilet.
And look, I'm a hunter.
Can you handle a shotgun?
So I've become friends with school shooters.
Are you kidding me? Want to do me a favor? Scram.
Comedy is such a powerful tool. I love that Bill Maher is at least still funny. Unfortunately, he's voting for the person that will end comedy forever in her oppression of free speech.
The attack ad I see 10 times a day, and a question Bret Baier aimed at her on Wednesday, was about her saying in 2019 that she supported providing taxpayer-funded sex change operations to illegal immigrants in prison. Something that's actually never happened and has no real bearing on anybody's life. But it's a litmus test for voters out there who want to know of the Democrat, is there anything your fringe can suggest that will ever make you say, no, that's fucking ridiculous?
No, it's ridiculous. They've changed. We didn't change. We didn't start the culture war. They started the culture war. by encroaching on sacred grounds. And now Americans are saying enough is enough. You've gone too far. There is no line that you won't draw, which is what progressivism means, by the way. You progress and there's no line, no end to what they think we will evolve to, because there's no meaning, there's no law, there's no gaps, there's no morality. Doesn't mean that they're not moral. I didn't say that. I'm only saying that philosophically, they don't believe in those guardrails. Or as Chesterton said, it's unlawful or unwise to take down a fence before you know what it's there for, because it could be keeping a wild bull from being released into a schoolyard full of children.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
No bueno.
There's not a thing that comes to mind for her if you ask her any questions. The good news is early voting is going to Trump.
Based on the likely partisanship of the voters that we've seen so far, we're seeing more Republicans as a share of the electorate than Democrats. Take a look at that. 4 years ago, less than a third, only 32% of people that had voted so far were Republicans. That's up 6 points so far this cycle.
That difference alone is enough to make up for the election differences from 2020. Of course, Trump already won 16 and we're already looking good. Republicans, you can't get them to come out to vote early unless they feel like the country is going to end. That's what's driving us all out to early vote.
Now, that could be a sign of enthusiasm among Republicans. It could be because Donald Trump is sometimes at least supporting early voting.
Yeah, we just voted in. Wapow. That's my early vote I did today. I love that he goes, Trump sometimes supports early voting. By the way, if Trump supported early voting in 2020, he absolutely would have won easily and clearly. With some of those state polls, he was off by just 11,000 votes. Early voting is how you get the vote out. And now Republicans are hearing the message, and that's a good message for us to keep doubling down on.
In Pennsylvania, we've seen Republicans so far ahead of the 2020 pace. Again, Democrats are still a larger share of early voters, but there are more Republicans in just about all of the states where we've seen significant votes so far.
And by the way, they're setting records in early registration, voter registration in Pennsylvania, which Trump has to win the election. And that's thanks to Elon Musk and Pressler. There's a lot of guys working the ground over there, guys. Keep praying for them.
And you have people going to absolute vapors every time he talks about censorship or talks about Donald Trump. Really, this turned on Musk when he bought Twitter and took down the censorship system.
Yeah, the left, man, you attack their censorship system and they go nuts. That's why they went nuts on Musk. And Musk is the single greatest force protecting free speech right now. It's baffling to me that Bill Maher would vote for Kamala Harris when she flat out is hunting and said that she would use government to prosecute what they call misinformation, also known as the entire Republican platform.
But most importantly, when he released the Twitter files, because many of us were testifying in Congress and Democratic members would say, you've no proof that there's any coordination between the government and these companies. And then Elon Musk supplied the proof with thousands of emails coming from government officials and offices, over 80 FBI agents targeting individuals and groups for censorship. They never forgave him for that.
We did videos on that going all the way back to him owning Twitter, Elon Musk. I said he was the single most effective thing in the last couple of years to this entire election, including Trump, because I knew he wanted free speech. When he released those Twitter files with Matt Taibbi, journalist, and it exposed all of our government's involvement with Twitter, that is a game changer. That is the hinge, guys. That's when it started to turn around for Trump.
You have CEOs that openly support Harris, openly support extremely far-left policies. There's not a peep about them. But there is this Musk mania, which has just overwhelmed the media recently.
Yeah, no matter how loopy or crazy leftist, a lefty billionaire, what he supports, he'll never get in trouble for what Elon Musk simply did. Now we have some cool, here's some more polls on the interactive polls. This is TIP, super liberal poll, national polling trends. October 16th, Harris had 50%, Trump had 46%. October 20th, Trump is up to 49%, Harris at 47%. I predicted that trajectory, if you look at those lines, how rapidly Trump is rising, how rapidly Kamala Harris is lowering, that it would eclipse it. And now it has eclipsed it here. Here's the election wizard breaking. Trump takes the lead in the Economist election forecast. And remember, the Economist is a liberal rag. So they have Trump ahead 54%, Harris 45%. He has now eclipsed her. Part of it is her stand against evangelical Christians, people who shout out Jesus is Lord at one of her rallies. And she said, you're at the wrong rally.
I don't think in our history, Barack Obama or Joe Biden included, no Democrat would respond in that moment the way that she responded. 100%. You have to understand the gravity of that response. I don't know what she saw. I don't see the camera from the other angle. I don't know what she internalized. I don't know what she heard. I don't know if she heard Jesus is Lord. Right. But that's what was said. And for you to respond, you're at the wrong rally, I don't care if all she thought was they were pro-life, to your point, Charlie. That is, in our past, in the history of America, a campaign-killing response.
Maybe that's why these Chicago black voters are trying to flip it red.
Flipping Chicago red, we flipping Chicago. What we doing, Ms. Jackson?
Flipping Chicago red. Trump 2024. Trump 2024. Donnie baby.
Can Trump take Chicago? It'd be pretty bad, but I think he's going to go into inroads where we've never seen before. And that's purely not because Trump is doing something amazing, but because Kamala Harris is a truly dangerous candidate. I'm Doug in exile. Have you voted?